think that. Okay. All right. Hello and welcome to the Sierra Speaker Series, brought to you by the California State Parks and the Sierra State Parks Foundation. My name is Jeremy Lin, and I'm the natural and cultural interpreter based at Donner Memorial State Park. The Sierra Speaker Series shares and connects the rich cultural and natural history of the area to the community. Please donate to Sierra State Parks Foundation today to support the interpretation, restoration, and preservation of the park system in the Lake Tahoe-Donner area. Your tax-deductible donation will be kept locally and applied to priority projects. Please see our Facebook page for the upcoming scheduled talks and speakers. So with me today are Dr. Barbara Czerwinski and Heidi Sproat, volunteers research historians with the Truckee-Donner Historical Society. Barbara is also the District 5 representative for Nevada County Historical Landmarks Commission. Heidi is the Historical Society's webmaster and image collection coordinator. For more information about the Historical Society, please visit truckeehistory.org. Today, Heidi and Barbara will be presenting their famous and highly coveted talk entitled The Hidden Wonders from Truckee's Best Views. Thank you, Heidi and Barbara. Please take it away.
Okay, here we go. You'll have to bear with both of us. This is the first time we've done this, so we're going to give it our best and see how it turns out. If you happen to notice the background, mine is from the top of Donner Summit, which is one of the best views, I think, in the country. And Barbara is the view looking at Truckee Veterans Memorial Building and Rocking Stone Tower, which is where you would look out from in many of the photographs we're presenting today. One of the reasons we decided to do this is because Barbara and I have been actively pursuing historical landmark status for the Truckee Veterans Memorial Building for, 4 years. And in submitting the applications to the State Historic, 5 years, the State Historic Resources Commission in Sacramento, we sent the first one in 2017. It came back with requested modifications. We submitted it, it came back with requested modifications, which we made. The third time we submitted it with a consultant, and it is apparent that it may not be approved. So we decided, instead of just having all this information about Truckee and exploring all these different things, we were going to pursue this, but we wanted to share it with everybody. And the best way to do this was to make some kind of a presentation. Little did we know coronavirus would hit, and Jeremy Lin of the Sierra State Park interpretive program said, "Are you willing to do this?" And we said, "Okay, we don't know what we're doing, but we'll give it a try." So this is what we're planning on doing, and the program should, like we said, probably be about 50 minutes. And we hope you enjoy it. And maybe you can ask questions at the end. And if you have any questions, please, by all means, do let us know. Okay, we went through the information about the submittal of the applications. And right now we appear to be stonewalled, but we don't know, given the current coronavirus issue, we don't know what's going on. But we wanted everybody to know that there are images that we have here that are obviously historical in nature, that date all the way back to the 1870s. We have a collection online of those images, and any number you see on it, like ICE006, that's going to be a referral back to the image collection number that we have in our database. So if you see that and you want to ask more questions, or if you want a copy of it, you can contact us. So in 1946, this is an aerial view of Truckee. And if you, I gotta see if I can get my laser pointer here. This is Truckee Veterans Memorial Building right here. Adjacent to it, just a tad bit east and north, is the Rocking Stone Tower. This image was taken from Eastman, and we wanted you to get an idea of orientation. So you were looking northeast. Notice there is no Highway 80 here because this predates the Interstate 80 as well as Squaw Valley activity in 1960. You'll also note that when the buildings, when the roads were constructed, Truckee is at the intersection of two Blue Star highways, which is Highway 80 when it was built. And if you've gone down Highway 89, you'll see the sign 10th Mountain Division. And we have been fortunate with the old jail museum to have it designated as a Blue Star museum. Okay. Again, another aerial view to orient you so you know what we're talking about. This is the Truckee Veterans Memorial Building and the Rocking Stone Tower. You can now see Highway 80 has been built. This is Bridge Street and the Truckee River that runs here. So you can see the Truckee River right here and Highway 80 are almost running parallel. This is the area known as Hilltop. There are two very good viewpoints in Truckee. One is Hilltop, and we think the best view in Truckee, the hidden wonders, is from the Truckee Veterans Memorial Building. Okay, come on. Sometimes things just don't like to work. Okay, Barbara.
Okay, the magnificent, the change over to your side from here. All part of Truckee, which is a depot down that the valley. This, if you'll notice the pillars on there are 14 pillars that go with the site of the McClashen Tower that he built earlier on. These are no longer do that kind of work anymore in the foundries. Okay, next.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, Heidi.
Oh, okay. If you take
sorry.
Go ahead, Barbara.
This is a view from the looking. As you can see, the train and the Veterans Hall and the Rocking Stone make a magnificent view, as well as the lawn of the Truckee. There's the Krisoff and the Collins. Both young men were as you're looking out, you can see downtown Truckee. Okay.
Okay. All right, the view on the left is the actual Rocking Stone that you saw in the prior picture with the towers that were built here. Now, what you see in the photo on the right is what McClashen originally built on top of the Rocking Stone. This picture was taken by a noted Truckee photographer, Herman Kimball Gage, H.K. Gage, in 1890. And again, if you're looking out towards Truckee, you can see the Carson Range here, as well as you note how high you are looking out over the town of Truckee. The railroad is here underneath. You can't see it from here, but the railroad is running through here as it came through in 1869. But take a look at this tower that was built on top of the Rocking Stone, and you can see adjacent to it is what appears to be a giant icicle, popsicle. Standing in front of it is, we presume to be, Charles Fayette McClashen, the gentleman who built this tower on top of the Rocking Stone. You ask, why would somebody build a tower on top of anything? And McClashen had written the book about the Donner Party that had come across the Sierra Nevada. And he collected a lot of relics and other items and displayed them inside of this Rocking Stone Tower. He also had a collection of 20,000 butterfly moths, what they call, correct me if I'm wrong, Lepidoptera. I can never say that word right. And
Lepidopteras.
yeah, Lepid, and then we'll give the rest of it. But it's butterfly collection. And he housed them in this tower. And on top, you will see there is an electric light here that was installed at some point. There's also a walkway, and they held concerts up here on Saturday nights when people generally from the Sacramento and Bay Area would come up and listen to the music played on top of this. You will see a ladder in one of the further pictures. Barbara, you want to talk about the myth?
Oh, the myth of the rocking stone. We've never found any evidence that it was some kind of special place, other than these kinds of stones are found throughout the Sierra, as a matter of fact, throughout the world, and they're called erratica granite. Basically came from glacial runoff, so to speak, when the volcanoes hit, the rocks broke, lots of things. And so all the geologists that we talked to agreed that this was glacial erratica. And Mr. McClashen's daughter, Bliss, in her book on the Sierras, she wrote. So it's probably a story that maybe was invented for marketing purposes to attract people to come to see this rocking stone by Mr. McClashen.
Right. So when McClashen built his stone tower first, before he built his home, and he happened to notice that if you take a look at the rocking stone itself, there is an angle to this. The angle of the stone prevented snow accumulation on the top of this rock. Because of that, McClashen, after he built the rocking stone tower, when he built his home, built a flat roof on his home, and people thought he was nuts. However, he angled it exactly the same as the rocking stone. And people didn't call McClashen crazy anymore when he was the only one not shoveling snow off the top of his roof. In any event, you can see that this was a advertisement to go to Truckee for a round trip fun day on the train to go explore that icicle and other events that were held in Truckee. If you also take a look, this is a picture looking out over Truckee. Again, there is no house here. There's no Veterans Memorial Building. This is way before that time. But this is the Rocking Stone Tower. This is the giant icicle that was formed. I think it was 20 feet in diameter at the base, and it went up and it was sprayed every night with water, and it froze, and it continued to build up. And I'll show you, the next picture will show you, this is what it looked like here. Now this may be hard to see, but remember you're standing at the top of the view from, I'll just say, to Truckee Veterans Memorial Building, and before that, McClashen's home and the Rocking Stone Tower. Looking out, this is the Carson Range back here. This is the Whitney Hotel. So it will give you some perspective. You can see the ladder right here. They used to climb up here and do the performances at night. This was an electric light. Notice there's another ladder here. So if you can visualize that the train ran east to west in Truckee proper, below this site, and as the trains approached, this is what they may have seen. This is another picture. We surmise this is McClashen. We don't know, but we surmise it. Note the telegraph pole up here and the height of this monster icicle. And
also note that he had lights up around the top of that museum so that you could see that from the trains, and then that would attract the visitors to come up there.
Right. Barbara?
This is an ad that we suspect that Mr. McClashen did. We have not been able to document the exact date, but it is advertising Truckee to come see the famous Rocking Stone. And this is where it was a California wonder. Even John Muir came to visit this place and told him the same thing, that it was probably from a glacial finding. But I have not been able to document the exact date that Mr. Muir came to Truckee. He came to the Lake Tahoe area several times, but the documentation is not there. Truckee, he mentions it in the book, Give Me a Mountain Meadow.
Okay.
And this is more about the myth of one of 25. And like I said before, his daughter Bliss concluded that it was a glacial formation. So we have a lot to think about when we look at this rocking stone. Okay?
All right.
And you can see over on the right-hand side, John Muir saw similar glacial formations on his first tour of the summer of his book. In the book, My First Sierra Nevada Visit, you'll see the book, as well as other sites in the area that have these kind of rocks. Okay.
You want to go ahead?
And then Truckee, then Truckee became, after the railroad was established in 1869 as a transcontinental railroad, Truckee became the principal point between Sacramento and Ogden, Utah. We were good in Truckee for lumber, wood, and ice. Remember, we had a natural ice industry here that was very, very strong until refrigeration came along. Okay, and then this is a advertisement in 1894 from Philadelphia Times that talks about the monster icicle and how Truckee might be some attraction for tourists, just to show the depth and width of the advertisement for this rocking tower, rocking stone tower.
Right. So imagine when we showed you that first picture where you saw Highway 80 and it was running parallel to the railroad track. We happened to stumble on an article written by soldiers who, in an effort to protect the railroad from strikers in the Pullman strike in the 1894, they were traveling from Sacramento going east, looked up, saw this monster icicle and this weird building, round building with a telegraph pole by it and lighting on top of it, wondering what the heck is this? Well, they were allowed off of the train, climbed up there, and if you have a chance to read through this particular excerpt, they're talking about going to view it with the proprietor, whom we assume was McGlashan. The person is not named, but he was showing them around the rocking stone as well as the general area. Like, here, this is what the view of Truckee looks like from up here, and this is what this rocking stone is. Come in and see the butterfly collection. Come in and see the Donner Party relics. So this was reported in a book called The City Guard, A History of Company B, as they were traveling across the railroad in 1894. Again, this is a view looking out. This is from 1895. And if you look closely, you can actually see the Truckee Roundhouse right here. And you can see the Whitney Hotel, which today is the Truckee Hotel.
And the Roundhouse area is past the Beacon Lot off of Donner Pass Road, is where there's a new development going out there that's all been torn down, but it's a rail yard project. And that's where, and this is another advertising. Come to Truckee for the winter sports. Wally Gillette took over as general manager of this affair. And you can see he brought in skiers from European skiers to teach you how to ski, tobogganing. There was all kinds of snow, exciting things to do up here during your visit. this was all around Donner Lake, as well as in the travel magazines. We found this wonderful article outline everything that you could do as far as coming to the winter events up here, including the picture of we think Mr. McClashen with his famous Icicle. The Icicle was only up for about 2 seasons, and then he moved down by the train station and built the Ice Palace. As you'll see, we can show you the next slide, Heidi. Has a larger picture of the Ice Palace. The Ice Palace, as well as you can see, it had a toboggan run. You had to hike up there, though. Mind you, there was no elevator. You had to hike up there and come down on the toboggan. This lasted for a couple of years, although it was falling apart. It was made with chicken wire and wood, and then when the snow melted, it became a mess. So after that, it was moved over to what is at the end of East River Street now. But look at that toboggan slide. Wouldn't that be fun? Looks like we could have a really good time. But that was down at, right now, that would be the parking lot of the train station out in that area. Okay, next. This is a better picture of the Ice Palace by the train station. Note the Pullman car over on your left, and that was for overnight lodging. The Pullman cars were put on trains extra, coming from San Francisco, Oakland, or Sacramento areas, and they accommodated you for overnight, and then you could party on the way home too. Anyway, it was a good time. This is the inside of the first Ice Palace. As you can see, it was ice, and it had been sawed off to smooth out and look like a inside of a building. Look how icy the floor was. It might have been a little slippery, but it was a fun place to have a good time.
And there were electric lights inside showing, lighting the place up, so you could, since you're in an enclosed space, you have to have some light. So they had electric lights strung.
Okay. And during this era, longboard skiing was introduced in this country from the Europeans, mainly Norway, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and all those countries that had a lot of snow had skiing. And so this is just 3 young people doing longboarding. We do have longboarders still in this country, and they have some competitive meets now and then up at Boreal, as well as up the Sierras, Plumas County in there.
We couldn't find the actual date for this, but take a look at the height of the snow here. These buildings behind this is Commercial Row, where you would find Bar of America, Pianetta, Squeeze In, all the way down the road. But this is Commercial Row, and you can see the height of the snow at this point.
Okay.
All right, this go ahead, Barbara.
Okay. This is a site in yellow on your right, left-hand side is a site of where the second Ice Palace was built in 1914. Anyway, it is now going to be called Truckee Springs. It is part of the master plan for the town of Truckee, and it will be preserved as a wild area. It will not have any buildings on it, and it will be used as a historical landmark. And that is in progress now. You can see that from the East River Street. You can go to the end of the pavement, and that will become a dirt road, which is barred off right now, but that is where the second Ice Palace was. Note the Glad You Come sign. It unfortunately burned down in 1915 and was not rebuilt, but Glad You Come was an important thing in advertising for coming to this event. And then Mr. McClashen's, you can see Mr. McClashen built his mansion next to the rocking stone about 1901 to 1902. And you can see that this is from Hilltop, which is another beautiful point of view from Truckee, and it looks across the valley. The railroad station's in the center. And I like this slide because, you know, snow varies in Truckee from one winter to the next, sometimes more and sometimes not so much. As you'll see at the bottom of the hill here at bottom of the hill at Hilltop, you see a little bit of ground. And so I'm not sure how exciting that would be to come down on your skis, but just shows you the people having a good time. And notice the clothes that they're wearing. They didn't have ski clothes per se. They were just heavy winter wool clothes that you wore most of the time in the winter. So your clothes were kind of bulky then and not as streamlined as they are now. And then the snowball specials. This is an ad, 1935. You could come up on the train for $4.45. You could add a little more and stay in a Pullman car. It was from the Berkeley papers, which tells you the people from the Bay Area like to come up here to ski. And it was a rate that was amenable to a lot of people.
Okay, this is, we were talking before about the Rocking Stone Tower, and this is McClashen's mansion, the Crystal Palace, the Glass House. It had all sorts of names. After McClashen built his 14-column Rocking Stone Tower, he built his home, again, reflecting the angle of the roof, which appears to be here in negligible, is the same angle as this rocking stone. And for that reason, he never had to accumulated snow on top of his home. The side facing Truckee, notice the arched windows that go all the way around the front of the building. He also built a connecting bridge between his home and the Rocking Stone Tower, so he could go between the two. When there were tours, he'd just have to cross over and attend. Note too, this wall was built, the McClashen wall, to ensure that the building didn't fall down because it was not crumbling.
It was sliding down the hill, so he built that in about 1906.
Right. Right.
And this is a picture of the wall as it is today on your right-hand side. On your left-hand side is a picture of Mr. McClashen with a visitor. And as you'll notice, the post to his left is still standing today as you go up off of High Street, as you go around what I call Scary Corner. Just before you get there, you will see the stairways, as well as that post that was probably his gate to going up onto his land. Notice the rocking stone is also feathered. Probably it came from where Hooligan's Rock is now. His granddaughter talks about he blew that up and used the stone to build this wall. As you will see, if you go down by Safeway, you can see Hooligan's Rock. You can also see the evidence of plug and feathering down there. It's a method of blowing stone apart. Okay, Heidi?
Okay, and after McClashen, who is on the right, his home burned down in 1934 and due to a fire, and he passed away in 1931. On that site, fortunately, the Rocking Stone Tower was still intact, but after World War I, the townspeople and Nevada County wanted to honor the veterans from World War I, and up and down California, they were erecting veterans buildings. The man on the left is Charles Clinton Sellon, S-E-L-L.
George.
I'm sorry, George. I got wrong here. George.
George.
That's right. George Clinton Sellon.
George.
I'll correct that. And
okay.
He was the first California state architect from 1907 to 1909. He was originally raised in Chicago, and as an architect after the San Francisco 1906 earthquake, he and quite a few other architects and engineers from the Chicago area came out on the train through Truckee all the way to San Francisco to attend to the restructuring and redevelopment of the San Francisco area that had been pummeled by the earthquake. I apologize, it's George Clinton Sellon. How could I make that mistake? I've written it enough times. In any event, Sellon is not a very well-known architect in California, and we had trouble linking we couldn't find any information about who designed the Truckee Veterans Memorial Building until we actually looked at the plans. So we found his name, and happenstance had it that Tahoe Forest Hospital, we had an inkling that he may have also, that this architect Sellon may also have designed other buildings in Truckee, and were blown away when the maintenance man pulled the architectural drawings from the original Tahoe Forest Hospital, and on it were George Clinton Sellon's initials. Surprise! So we were elated to find that, and we also learned that he did the drawings for the Alder Creek Middle School. When I say he, at this point, his original Sellon architectural firm had been absorbed or bought out or subsumed by a company known as Lionakis. They're a very well-known international engineering firm. So we also discovered when we started looking, once we had his name, that Sellon also designed 11 veteran or county courthouses just in the state of California. He designed hundreds of public school buildings, parts of the Agnew State Hospital, and San Quentin Prison. So from our perspective, in terms of linking McClashen and Sellon, we wanted to see if there was any kind of, okay, did they ever know each other? It's possible. I mean, he came through Truckee in 1907 or 1906 after the earthquake. He may very well have met McClashen. We don't have any evidence that he did or that he didn't, so we don't know. In any event, Sellon was California's first state architect. He assisted with the services for architectural redesign and rebuilding after the 1906 earthquake. And the Truckee Veterans Memorial Building, which he designed, is the only Gothic designed structure he ever built. Okay. And up here is what his home looked like. This is a Sierra Tavern. This is down, Commercial Row would be over here to your right. And let's go to the next image. Here's the Rocking Stone Tower, again, his home. When the home burned down, the tower remained. We're just going through a couple pictures here to show you.
As you note, it's kind of different architecture for the McClashen home versus what is in Truckee. This is a view from the rail yard and the lumber. You can see down at the bottom is the lumber yard for for Truckee Lumber Company that was in existence down there along the river. And then this is what it looks like in the snow. So it did stand out in Truckee as a different building. Some comments have been made that it didn't really match Truckee, but it stood out in Truckee. And this is a picture of the fire in October 1934. Mr. McClashen died in 31, and then a caretaker was in the home at the time of the fire, but he did escape. But the building was completely destroyed, but you can see the tower is still there. It survived. Okay, next.
Okay.
And then the tower was taken apart because it went into disrepair. The exhibits were dispersed to Sacramento. Some of them went to Sutter's Fort. Some of them went to the Archives of California. And the butterfly collection ended up and the courthouse in Nevada City, which is another long story. The butterfly collection is back in Truckee at Truckee-Donner Rec and Park District's main office. Now, in 1960, we had the privilege of having the torch come through for the 1960 Olympics in Squaw Valley. And this is a home picture off of a home movie from a family McCary gave to us, as well as you can see the lighting of the torch. The torch stayed in Truckee the whole for overnight, and then it went to Squaw Valley. But the light on the top of the rocking stone stayed on the whole time for the Olympics. Now, the torch was brought to Donner Lake by Norm Saylor, which I'm sure many of you know as well. He's standing there with William Barry, the famous news reporter. Norm Saylor has helped us immensely putting this project together in many, many ways. He's in his 80s now, but he still knows what happened and when it was there. It's a lot of fun. Next slide shows the kind of the history of what happened to the home. It fell in disrepair for about 4 years, and then the family sold it for a minimal amount to Nevada County. And then in the meanwhile, because they wanted a veterans memorial building, 1939, the Nevada County sanctioned Truckee to have the memorial building designed by the architect. And he put it on the footprint of the McClashin Mansion. And then Truckee is trying again. As I said, the 1960 brought great fame to our Rocking Stone Tower. This tower was built, the replacement tower was built in 1959 as preparation for the Olympics. Lots of things changed in Truckee during this time to accommodate the Olympics. Okay, next. Okay. And this is a picture of the Veterans Hall when it was first finished in 1939, dedicated in 1941. This entrance on your left has been since removed. In 1994, when Rec and Park took over the building, they accommodated a stair, removed the stairwell on the inside of the building to accommodate restrooms and an entryway from the other side, not High Street. High Street is kind of dangerous to enter from this area. The Rocking Stone has a plaque on it by the Clampers that talks about the Indians' use of this Rocking Stone as well as the 1960 Olympics.
Okay.
All right, Heidi.
Okay, and Barbara was just mentioning the staircase that went up that has since been removed. But at the top of the staircase when this was built was an honor roll, which you could see in detail on the right. Keep in mind, the building was built in 1939, dedicated in 1941. At the time of the Second World War, the population of Truckee was hardly more than 1,000. But look at the number of men and women who were young people at the time who were honored on this memorial plaque. And it says Meadow Lake because Meadow Lake was the name before Truckee. So you will see that, and there is there's a very good story about there were 5 brothers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Waters brothers, who's were from Truckee. All 5 served in the war. And if you want to read more about that story, there's a link down here and we can provide that a little bit later. But it's fascinating to read because the Secretary of the Navy at the time, I think Simpson,
Secretary of War. Simpson
wrote a letter to the family thanking them for their service with 5 men. And ironically, there are several other stories about similar families, but this was highly unusual for a population of 1,000 to have this many people serve in the war. And to our knowledge, we do not believe that there's anybody else on this list still remaining alive, sadly.
Sadly.
Okay, and this is just a picture, again, it's from Google. This is what we used in our application, but it'll give you a better idea. This is now Highway 80, which of course runs east to west. This is Truckee Veterans Memorial Building. And this is the top of the Rocking Stone Tower over here. It looks a little odd, but remember, it's from Google Earth, just to give you an idea of, again, what you're looking at when you look up the hill at the Veterans Memorial Building.
And just, this is another side view, just to show you the design and the beauty of the arches, the way the building was put together. It makes a different view when you look at it from the side. And the other views, Heidi, next.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. There, this is the entrance now. And if you go in the entrance as it is right now, up on your left-hand side, you will see that honor roll that has all of those men and women from Truckee, who many of them came back and helped Truckee become the place it is now. For example, one man was good at blowing things up and ended up working for Caltrans. He became an explosive expert for Caltrans and building the highway. Another man was a meat cutter for the Army, and he came back and opened a butcher shop that was here until I think 1979. So these people all had skills they learned at war that helped develop the town of Truckee. And this is just a side view. You can go in and out this door into a basement. There is a storage room basement downstairs, which is very interesting, and has this is the other side view going up on your right hand side to the Rocking Stone Tower on the stairs.
And these pictures were all taken by Greg Zerbel. He's a phenomenal photographer.
And also, people do have weddings out there, as well as the building can be rented for overnight ski parties. At one time, lots of high schools would come for the weekend and stay in the Veterans Hall. And this is a picture of the winter, I think, of 1617, when we had a lot of snow. And as you notice, the snow doesn't build up. It comes off, it slides off, and it makes it an easy care building for that aspects. As you'll notice, the chimney, the red chimney, has been extended a little bit to help you with your Wi-Fi. There is AT&T has a tower in there, and it is, of course, all of that went to at one time a furnace it was an oil furnace. It's all been removed because of we don't use oil anymore to heat with. But anyway, there is a tower in that red chimney. It was extended a little bit to match, but it makes us have Wi-Fi in this area, as well as it's a great assistance to the truckers. Okay, Heidi.
So we've pretty much gone through, we have thousands of additional pictures. However, we just tried to present a number of the ones that we felt that might be most attractive. Now, keep in mind what Barbara said. If you look at the chronology of Truckee, Truckee was no place in the early 1800s. And because of the vision of McClashen seeing this as a possible Mecca and a crossroads between the Lake Tahoe area and the Bay Area and other points east and west, Truckee developed because of its winter sports originally. Well, today everybody knows it's a draw no matter what time of the year you come. But as we said at the beginning, we are both volunteer research historians with the Truckee-Donner Historical Society. And if you're interested in looking at additional images, you can go to images.truckeehistory.org. We have a lovely membership application, which is cheaper than a cup of coffee for a week. That's my shameless plug for today. We also have a Facebook page, and we've had the benefit of an individual who has been able to post different images to the Facebook page, entertaining a discussion. Do you know where this is? Do you know who these people are? Which has been really nice, because it's brought a lot of information back to us, which I've then added to the collection information on the images. If you have questions or you want to ask about something, you can email us at info@truckeehistory.org. And these are the emails of the people that presented. Red is Barbara, blue is Heidi. And here is the email, info@truckeehistory.org is the best way to reach us. So we hope you have enjoyed this. And if you have questions, please, I guess there's a chat function available that you can either send in your questions or chat, or spread the word. I mean, a lot of people don't know about Truckee, and there's a lot to learn here. And we just hope you enjoyed it. We hope you walk away with a new perspective from the greatest view in Truckee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Simply amazing. What a wonderful talk. Thank you so much, Heidi and Barbara. There's just so much to learn, and more information keeps on surfacing. So definitely, to our audience, stay tuned for additional information that keeps on popping up, and just stay involved with us. So this concludes our episode of the Sierra Speaker Series with Dr. Barbara Czerwinski and Heidi Sproat of the Truckee-Donner Historical Society. Please visit truckeehistory.org for more information about the Truckee-Donner Historical Society. This interpretive presentation has been brought to you by California State Parks and the Sierra State Parks Foundation. Please donate to the Sierra State Parks Foundation today to support the interpretation, restoration, and preservation of the park system in the Lake Tahoe-Donner area. This tax-deductible donation will be kept locally and applied to priority projects. Please see our Facebook page for the upcoming scheduled talks and speakers. Feel free to contact me, Jeremy Lin, at Donner Memorial State Park. Thanks, and see you next time. And Heidi and Barbara will remain online to answer a few additional questions. So stay tuned and stay in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.